Welcome to Balanced Bodies, the podcast where we make nutrition easy so you can focus on living your best life. I'm Anisha Gupta, a registered dietitian, and I'm here to help you achieve hormonal balance, blood sugar balance, and overall better health. As a busy mom myself, I understand how hard it can be to find the time and energy to focus on nutrition. But the truth is, our health is too important to ignore. That's why I created the Balanced Bodies podcast to provide practical tips and strategies for achieving optimal health without sacrificing your busy lifestyle. In each episode, we'll explore various nutrition topics and discuss the latest research and trends so you're always up to date. You'll get actionable tips so that you can start implementing today and make big moves towards a healthier and happier version of yourself. Whether you're struggling with PCOS or looking to find your healthiest weight, or maybe you're simply just wanting to feel your best, Balanced Bodies has got you covered. I'm here to support you wherever you are on your health journey, because at the end of the day, nutrition should be easy and enjoyable. So join me on this journey towards balanced bodies and better health. Subscribe to the Balanced Bodies podcast today, and let's make nutrition easy, one episode at a time. Hey everyone, this is Anisha Gupta, registered dietitian. Welcome back to the Balanced Bodies podcast. I know it's been a while since I've dropped an episode, but I recently learned about this really cool thing called Podcast-thon, and I thought that, you know what, I really want to participate. So this has brought me out of my shell back to you guys. So what Podcast-thon is, it's 1 week where thousands of podcasts highlight a charity of their choice. And for me, I wanted to shine some light on a really cool organization out in Mississauga, Ontario, called Mind Forward Brain Injury Services. This organization helps people recover from brain injuries, helps them regain their independence, and best of all, really improve their quality of life. So the thing is that brain injuries don't just affect individuals. They change entire families. So according to Health Infobase, which is a Canadian-based website, in 2019, a whopping 400,000 Canadians over the age of 12 sustained one or more concussions. And 80 to 90% of brain injuries are from falls. Think about babies, think about young kids playing sports, think about adults who have tripped on a wire or fell off a ladder, or even the elderly and how prone they are to injuries and falls. And many of these brain injuries go unnoticed and aren't even reported. So that number of 400,000 Canadians is probably underestimated. There's way more brain injuries than we even know about. And for the better part of the past year, I've had this incredible opportunity to work with Mind Forward personally and provide some service to them. And I have learned a lot about their programs and how they interact with the community. And I have to say, it's incredibly, incredibly inspiring. They provide rehab, they give life skills training, they give community support for people living with brain injuries, but their approach really does go beyond, and they do focus on full body healing, helping people regain independence so that they can really benefit their life and do things on their own, live their best life as best as they can, even with a brain injury. So Mind Forward is really on a mission to help, and today I want to talk about one of the most underrated aspects of brain recovery, which is nutrition. As a side note, in a couple weeks, I'm going to be going to the International Brain Injury Conference and presenting some research that we've been doing together with Mind Forward about nutrition and brain health, which is going to be really, really cool. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see a little bit about that. But what we eat isn't just about fueling our body, it's actually helping our brains be the best version of themselves as well. So in today's episode, we're going to dive into what's actually happening in our brain as we age. We're going to talk about the biggest brain health roadblocks and how we can avoid them. And we're going to talk about some simple, powerful habits that can keep our mind sharp, focused, and resilient as we go through life, brain injury or not. Okay, so let's dive in and talk about what's actually happening in our brain right now. Because even if you feel great today, our brain is actually constantly changing. Fun fact, maybe not quite so fun, but after the age of 30, our brain starts to lose volume. Yes, it actually starts to shrink, especially in areas that are related to our memory and our learning. But listen, don't freak out just yet. The speed that this happens depends on our lifestyle, our nutrition, our daily habits, And these are things that we can actually take charge of. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how we can do that. But these are things that are in our control. So we can help our brain to slow the damage or slow the loss of volume and keep us functioning well. Fun fact number 2, our brain is actually very, very adaptable. And this is called neuroplasticity, which means that our brain can actually rewire itself based on what we're doing, how we're eating, and the way that we think every day. So we can create new brain pathways so that we can continue to be our best versions of ourselves and keep our brains healthy. Another really cool thing is that brain injuries, even mild ones like a concussion, can have long-term effects on our memory, our mood, and even our focus. So many people don't even realize that they've had a brain injury until years and years later. I can tell you last year, unfortunately, my daughter walked into a shed that was being built at my brother's house and had part of the metal pole dropped on her head. It happened in a quick second. She was there just during that moment. It was unlucky timing, and it fell on both of their heads because it wasn't screwed in properly. And she got a brain injury from it. Not bad, not that we've done anything about it, but just monitoring her. But something quick and easy can happen, and you don't even realize that it is. Sometimes you don't even realize and just, oh, you got a bump on your head and that's it. But it might have actually been a brain injury and we didn't even think further about it. So it can happen. But let's talk about what are the things that we can do to help us make small daily choices that can add up over time to keep our brain strong and reduce that risk. So let's dive into some of the lifestyle and behaviors that we may be doing every day that can really help or can create a roadblock to our brain being its best version. So first of all, let's talk about chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. So our brain is actually extremely sensitive to inflammation. Things like poor diet, high stress, lack of sleep can trigger inflammation, and that can damage our brain cells. So we want to try to reduce that inflammation in our body. And what we can do is we can focus on anti-inflammatory foods. So these could be like berries and leafy greens, which have antioxidant properties. Omega-3s from fatty fish, like salmon, for example, and even dark chocolate can help us reduce that oxidative stress and reduce the inflammation that's in our brain. A second thing is blood sugar spikes and crashes. So every time we eat something that has simple sugars or high sugar, refined carbs in our diet, it creates a blood sugar spike and then creates a crash. Our blood sugar rises very quickly and then it comes crashing down. And this can really impact our brain fog, our mood, and can create a little bit more cravings for sugar because our body wants to have that energy spike again. So instead of relying on refined carbs and sugary snacks, for example, think about creating more of a balance within your plate. So my secret formula is PFF, protein, fat, and fiber. These 3 aspects on a balanced plate can help keep our brain focused and fueled because it sustains our energy levels. It prevents those massive blood sugar spikes and gives us energy over a sustained period of time. So including vegetables on your plate, including lean protein on our plate, and having healthy fats, which could be avocado oil, olive oil, avocados, nuts, great sources of healthy fats out there that can really help us have a more fueled and balanced plate to keep us feeling great for a longer period of time. The third roadblock that I want to talk about is poor sleep and chronic stress. So sleep isn't just rest for our body. It's actually when our brain cleans out toxins and helps us with our memory. So when we are chronically stressed, this increases our body's fight or flight response and increases our cortisol levels in our body. Our cortisol is our stress hormone. And this can impact our memory, our concentration. It can increase anxiety, depression, and even amplify mood disorders because it alters our brain chemistry and the neural pathways within our brain. So high stress can actually cause parts of our brain to shrink. So what we can do instead is prioritize deep sleep and stress management techniques. So even a simple habit change like no screen time before bed for an hour, or finding ways that can help create better stress management. So things like yoga, gratitude journaling, meditation, or just looking at the bright side of life kind of mindset can really make a difference in how stressed your body is feeling on a regular basis. Okay, so we've talked about some of the threats to our brain. Let's go through some of the solutions. And the thing is that you don't have to do a total lifestyle overhaul to have some success with this. Small, consistent habit changes can really make the world of a difference. And like if you're my coaching client, you know how true that is. We focus on small changes and amplify the results as time goes on. So the first is eat for brain power. So start with one brain healthy food per meal. Think nuts, seeds, fish, leafy greens, dark leafy greens specifically. Just focus on one of those foods. How can we be consistent with one of those foods? And also thinking about hydration, because dehydration, even a mild amount of dehydration, can really impact our brain's energy levels. So focus on how many cups of water are you drinking in a day? Are you drinking enough? How can you get in an extra cup, even if it's first thing in the morning? We wake up dehydrated. Think about the color of your pee. That's a great indicator of hydration level. So in the morning when we wake up, our pee is generally a little bit darker. Signs of dehydration right there. So can we drink a glass of water first thing when we wake up to help hydrate our body? Number 2, moving our body can really boost our brain. So exercise isn't just for your body. It increases blood flow to our brain and helps our brain cells to grow, which is the process of neurogenesis, making new brain cells. So exercise can help make that happen because of that increased blood flow. And exercise helps improve memory, mood. Think about the endorphins that get released, which are the happy hormones in our brain, making us feel great. That's why some people exercise can be addictive, because you get addicted to those happy hormones that get released when we do exercise. It can help increase concentration, and exercise helps to reduce stress. So if we go back to what we talked about, one of those roadblocks was stress for our brain, right? So exercise helps reduce our stress levels. So overall, exercise can help our brain to recover from a brain injury, be in beds to help decrease the cognitive decline. And an example could be something simple. Like just think about how can we increase our movement in a day. So even 10-minute walk can improve our blood flow to our brain. If we can get outside, that's even better. There's so many more benefits of being outside. But if that's not possible, think about, can you do a 10-minute walk during your lunch break, even within your home or your office building, going up and down the stairs. That's something I used to do when I used to work at the hospital, just to help move the body a little bit more, especially when you do have a desk job. And the third one I want to talk about is protecting our brain from damage. So thinking about wearing a helmet when you're riding a bike, when you're skiing, if you're on a motorcycle. Brain injuries can happen really fast. And we don't anticipate that it's going to happen, but they can be pretty bad. We want to reduce that. Another way to protect our brain from hidden damage is toxin exposure. So toxins are little things that can live in our environment that can cross the blood-brain barrier and damage some of our brain cells. And some examples could be processed foods, heavy metals like lead or mercury, pesticides, nicotine in cigarette smoke, even non-stick cookware could be a toxin for our body and for our brain. I have a whole podcast episode that dives more into this topic. I'll link it in my show notes if you are interested in learning more about how our environment could be creating toxins and adding to forever chemicals that live inside of our body, impacting our hormones as well. But I do want to say, don't freak out, especially when you listen to that podcast episode, because there's a lot in our environment that we are exposed to on a daily basis, and taking it all out is like nearly impossible. And I would never want anyone to live their life in fear, because that can really do more harm than good. Think about the stress that comes with living a life in fear. So think about small habit changes that you can do. Know that it's okay to not do all the things. It's impossible to do all the things. take your time swapping things out. Start with easy things like skincare or the brand of deodorant that you're using. And there are some things that are not in our control, and that's perfectly okay. Like, you're limited in our food supply. Unless you can farm your own food, really, we kind of don't have a whole lot of say in that. So whatever is in our control, let's focus on those things. And my favorite piece of advice for clients is just do your best in any given situation. So wherever you may be, on vacation, at home, wherever it is, what can you do given your busy lifestyle, for example? What makes sense for you? So take it easy. Don't get overwhelmed with that kind of information, but it's okay not to do all the things too. Mind Forward has really been doing a lot of life-changing work. I want to bring it back to Mind Forward now because they are the charity that we are highlighting in this episode. But they do need support to keep going because they are not-for-profit. So things that you can do to really help Mind Forward take it one step further is you can donate to their programs. There's a lot of great programs that they offer. This is a not-for-profit organization, so even small contributions can really make a difference. I would really encourage you to head over to their website. Again, I'll link that in the show notes as well, mindforward.org, and you'll be easily able to make a contribution. The donate buttons are right there front and center. I think actually to the left on their main page, but you'll see them there. And if we're not donating, or if we want to donate, but also spreading awareness. So share this episode, talk to your community, get people more involved in brain health, and learning about brain health and how we can improve brain health is a great way to make this more of a topic of conversation. So we did cover a lot today. Our main takeaways: our brain health isn't set in stone. It's shaped by the choices that we make every single day. So my challenge for you today is pick one brain boosting habit that we can adjust and start today. Maybe it's adding more leafy greens, getting better sleep, drinking more water. These small changes really do add up, and your future brain is going to thank you, my friend. So if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend, because everyone deserves to have a sharp, strong brain for as long as we can. Our future self is really going to thank us for what we're doing today. I'm Manisha Gupta, registered dietitian and nutrition coach. Take care of your brain until next time. If you know someone who is dealing with a brain injury, needs some information, visit Mind Forward's website, mindforward.org, for resources, support. Definitely you're not alone, and recovery is possible. And that wraps up this special episode as part of Podcasthon. If you enjoyed it, feel free to visit podcasthon.org. It's also going to be linked in the show notes, and you will be able to discover hundreds of other podcasters who are dedicated to using their voice for amazing organizations making a difference in our world. I highly encourage you to check out some other podcasts and just make yourself feel good. All right, take care. See you guys soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Balanced Bodies podcast. Remember, achieving optimal health is a journey, and it's all about finding balance in our busy lives. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't just keep me to yourself. Share it with a friend or a family member that needs to hear it. Also, I'm inviting you to join me on Instagram at hello.nutrition for even more content, behind-the-scenes peeks, and daily inspiration. Follow me and stay connected and be part of my growing community of balanced bodies. If you have questions or topics that you'd like me to cover in future episodes, reach out. Your feedback is invaluable to me. I want to share with you the topics that matter with you the most. And of course, don't miss out on the next episode of Balanced Bodies. Hit that subscribe button now and stay tuned for even more invaluable insights and inspirations for the future. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode of the Balanced Bodies podcast. This is your host, Anisha Gupta, registered dietitian, signing off from Balanced Bodies for today. Wishing you, my sweet, sweet friend, a fantastic day ahead. Subscribe now, and let's make nutrition easy and enjoyable together.